Alright guys, time for another backhoe video. Power steering cylinders are leaking. I got rebuild kits for them, so let's tear into it. They're pretty simple, shouldn't take too long. Alright, so the first thing, gotta get this castle nut off. So take that cotter key out, get the castle nut off, and then I should be able to just knock this little tie rod end out of there, and then we'll see where we go from there. I'll clean all that up as best I can so I can see what's going on. I think what I'm going to find in there though is just a snap ring holding the front of that cylinder together, and then it should just pull apart, and it looks like all of the seals are all O-rings, so it doesn't look like there's any actual seals in there, just be O-ring replacement. So alright, let's get into it. Alright guys, so this is, they're fighting me a little bit. I'm not quite sure what I got going on. On this one, if you can see, this is dented right here. See where that's dented right there? So that may be part of what my problem is, but I've already had this one apart and it's not coming apart either. I've got the other one kind of apart, so I just went ahead and reassembled this. It just takes a few minutes. It's pretty easy, so I can show you the way this is supposed to come apart. So what you've got when you first look at this little thing right here, this is a spring clip. Okay, this is the gland. This part here is just a spacer, and then of course the actual cylinder. So to get this apart, you just get a hold of this spring clip and it just kind of unthreads off of there, and then what you do is you drive the whole gland inside of the rod. From there, this spacer comes out. Maybe. I may need to go just a little bit further in with the the gland. Hang on. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So now this should just come out like that, and there's another one of these inside of here. So this is the tricky one to fish out. It's kind of, find that it usually takes 2 screwdrivers. Where's the end of that? There, right down the bottom. Okay. Probably won't be able to show you guys inside of there very well, so I'm not even going to try, but it's the exact same type of clip as the one I took out of the outside. So you can see that starting to come out of there. Just work your way around, and that comes out. Just like that. Now from here, you should be able to just pull this whole thing out the front. Neither one of them will come out though. This one, I think it's because this is dented. The other one's probably the same thing. There's something in there. It's either dented and it's kind of oval shaped, or it's got a burr in there or something. So I think what I'm gonna do is just stop fighting these out here in the grass and dirt and everything, and I'll just take them to work with me, or I've got better tools. That seems to always be my solution. And I'll figure out what's actually going on, and I'll show you guys then. But this should be all you have to do to get to get this cylinder apart. And then they're super simple once you get inside of them. This is the seal kit for it. So what you have is, this is O-ring backup, and O-ring, another O-ring backup, and an O-ring. This is going to be your piston seals. They give you a new one of these snap rings that I just took out. This is the inside one. They don't give you an outside one for whatever reason. This little O-ring will be on the back of the piston in here. There's a bolt going through that to take the piston off. This goes on that, around that bolt. This is the actual seal that is leaking inside the gland there, and then it has these two little rod wipers that it will be sandwiched in between like this, and they may just go right up against each other. I don't think so though. I think these will have separate like pockets that they go in, and then this will go over the outside, and then sit. This is what seals around the rod there. So that's all that comes in the O-ring kit. Just this stuff right there. Wear it on one hand. Super simple. So I mean, it's a really easy job. Should have been. Alrighty, so working on this backup cylinder here. I threw some paint on them just for fun. They are the same cylinders as before. So I finally did get these apart. So here's kind of what this seal stack up looks like. This is just an O-ring. There's an O-ring in there and a wiper on the front. I forgot to take a video before I put it back together, and the other one's already done. Now this is a little bit different. I thought one of these backups was going to go over here, but the way the old one came apart, it had one backup on either side of the O-ring there. And sure enough, there is an O-ring in there, just as I expected. However, what I did not expect is this piston is actually threaded. So it actually threads onto the shaft, and then it has a backup nut. So what I did is I took this off, and I thought, man, this is just jammed on there like it was a press fit. And so I put it in the press and I pressed the threads out of it. So I actually made this one. This one's brand new. I just finished machining it, so I had to replace it because, yeah, I pushed the threads out of the old one. Put that other one out. So if you're taking these apart, don't make my mistake. These are threaded on here, so you can. They're aluminum, so I wouldn't recommend a pipe wrench. Something like a strap clamp maybe would work pretty good. And then as far as why they wouldn't come out of the cylinders initially, I'm not real sure. I finally got them. The other one just went right back together, and I just test fit this one. It fits just fine. So it must have just had some burr or some damage right on the inside of this lip here. Must have been what it was. I don't know. So find the original piston. I'll show you real quick. All right, so this is the original one. Kind of a carbon copy there, as you can see. And then you can see there used to be threads in there. Now, I probably could have just put this on there and then just put the nut on the back of it. I don't really see that those threads are doing much. But I decided just to make one. I know how to do it, so no big deal. Some 9/16 18 threads in there, 3/4 inch counter bore that goes around the 3/4 inch shaft, and 1/8 inch deep O-ring pocket right there, O-ring groove for the O-ring and its backups. So pretty cool. Yeah, so that's about it. Putting these back together should be pretty simple. Oh, hey, let me grab my stand. I have it here. All right, so they're not super complicated. They're pretty easy to get back together, and to take apart. Really, it wasn't that bad right up until the end when they got stuck for whatever reason. So put a little bit of Vaseline on the O-rings there just to help them, and that goes right in. And then this. So I'll use this. Not really the right way to use a wrench. Well, okay. The other one went right together. Move on to the brass punch. There it goes. It's just brand new paint up. Okay, so you just hammer the entire gland up inside of there. This is the same way that you take it apart, but in reverse. So you hammer that whole gland inside there, and then now you've got this type of snap ring. Now this part's kind of tricky to get them back in and to get them out for that matter. See, it's just kind of a spring type thing, and so we can thread this over the shaft here, or the rod rather, like so. And now it's a bit tricky, but you can just start one side and then just continuously work your way around until you get the whole thing in. The other one, oops, fought me for a little while, so we'll try it real quick and see. Maybe this one will just go. Once it finally went, it just went right in. Not like this one's. Oh, come on. Looks like this one's just gonna go. Just like that. Work it all the way around. Boom. Just like that. And then there. The other one I was able to, pull out. Scratching my paint up there. About to. So now we just need to pull the piston back out, or the gland rather. Hear that difference of it bottom out right there. Now I lost this original piece. I don't know where it is. It may just be at the house, but I can't find it, so I just made a rubber one, and all this is a spacer that goes in here. So the original one's sort of harder plastic material, but I figure this rubber should be fine. And if I find the other one at the house, I can just take the new tie rod in. Oh, all brand new tie rod ends. I didn't point that out. All four of them. So now the other thing I cannot find is there's another spring clip that goes on right here, and that just keeps the gland from being able to go back inside, and I can't find that either, so hopefully it's sitting on the backhoe. That's all there is to it though. This one I've damaged the shaft in a few places, so I'll have to file and clean all that up. That's all there is to that though. They're pretty simple to rebuild. I mean, it's just O-rings basically, and then one little rod wiper up here on the front. The kit ships with two. I don't know what the other one's for, so I may be missing something here. But anyway, yeah, so that's that. I'll see you guys back at the house. Alrighty, so finally got these cylinders back on. It's been raining and stuff the last couple of days. I went ahead and just mounted them up. It's pretty straightforward. Just stick this side in, get the nut started, and then you can just stretch that cylinder out by hand. Stick it in, get that nut tightened up and that nut tightened up down there, and then you can tighten up your lines. Each of these, they have these clamps on them. This one you can just go ahead and tighten up if you know how far out this needs to be. Oops, sorry. If you know how far out that needs to be, which I just judged that based on the ones that I took apart and got it reasonably close. You can go ahead and tighten this up because the cylinder turns in there. This one on this side, you'll want to wait to tighten this one up until you've gotten that in place and you know you have that correct. So you want this tightened up, then you can tighten that up, and then your lines. One thing I did not do was mark which line came off where. So hopefully I've got those back on right. I think I do, but just one thing to note, they will be opposite of each other. So if you look at this one, if you trace this line back to where it goes, it will connect to the other side of the other one, and that's because as this one's pushing, the other one should be pulling. Hence, that's how steering works. And then I don't think I mentioned it, but earplugs stick in the lines anytime you've got them open. That just keeps crap out of there, bugs, dust, dirt, whatever. Just keep your lines clean. So alrighty, the sun's getting me. Let me go to the other side. This one, same thing, exact same process. As you remember, on both sides I had to cut one of these off on each of them, so This is better. We got all new tie rod ends on all these. Same thing here. I should have marked these lines, which one goes where, but I didn't. I forgot. But anyway, same process. Tighten that up first, then this one, and then that one, and then the lines. So, all right, should be good. Give me a minute. Let me fire it up, and we'll see if we have any leaks or see what happens. Hopefully, it doesn't just blow apart. That'd be bad. All right, so I almost forgot, but there's no oil in it right after I replaced those. So here's kind of the procedure. Fill this all the way up to the top of the neck because it's completely empty. Now it says right here, do not overfill. Don't worry though, because all those lines and the cylinders have to get filled up. So once you've got that full all the way to the neck, you've got enough that it's not going to hurt it to run it just a little bit, especially if you're not actually using the pump. So, let's see, I've got the front of the tractor lifted off the ground with the boom there, and so what you do is just turn it until the wheels start to turn, and just keep an eye on that, and you just keep filling it, and then once you get it all the way this way, fill it back up, and then turn it the other way, all the way. Stand right here next to the tractor and do that until you get to the end, and just keep it full the whole way. And then once you're done, then just make sure you're at the full line on your dipstick there. So, and I've debated on this channel whether or not this is a hot or a cold check. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, but I think it needs to be a hot check at this point. So it may not really matter, and I would check it, you know, if you haven't used it in a while, probably smart to just check it before you start. And if it's empty, obviously you're going to need to add some to it. I forgot to tighten those lines up. Hang on a minute. I didn't actually forget those. I left those open to make sure I'd bled the lines out fully. Anyway, don't forget to tighten up all your lines. Okay, so it's full. It's still good. Well, I think so. Now, let me make sure. We'll run it back and forth again. Alright, no leaks that time. Now, if your power steering doesn't work at all, if you turn it and the cylinders I think I'm low on diesel. Give me just a minute. I started to say if your cylinders look like they're pushing against each other, that just means you have one of them hooked up backwards. So switch one of them, and then if you turn the wheel that way but the tires turn this way, then switch both of them, and then that should fix your problem. So anyway, I'm gonna keep messing with this. Just we'll go. I got some more diesel I'll put in there, and yeah, and then I'll check my fluid one more time, make sure it's good to go. And yeah, as long as you don't make much mistakes, not too bad of a job. So I'm not quite sure why these were so difficult to take apart. I did talk to the case dealership, and they said, yeah, once you get these, you know, this ring off and the one that's on the inside there, it should just come right apart. And so I basically put a pipe wrench on the end of this here, and then just beat the ever-living crap out of that pipe wrench, and it finally came out. There was nothing else holding it back, so these cylinders are pretty wore. See, that one's got a dent in it. So I think they're probably just a little bit damaged, and that's what was fighting me when I was taking them apart. So other than that, this is a pretty easy job. Super simple pistons. It's just O-rings in there, so it's not even, you know, it's not complicated as far as the seals or anything like that. It's all just O-rings. Just put it back together the way it came apart, and you'll be good to go. I am still a little bit confused why they shipped 2 rod wipers. There's not another place for one, so I don't know where that was supposed to go, but anyway, I didn't put it back in there, so and seems to be working so far. Obviously we're not under load, and that's why you want to pick these up off the ground. That way you're not running it under load while you're constantly running it out of fluid, refilling the whole system. So that way it's nice and easy for that pump. And yeah, so that's how you change or rebuild power steering cylinders over the course of like 3 weeks. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time. Started back up after I put fuel in it. Then it died like it was out of fuel. Shouldn't have been, though. That's the fuel pump right there. See this? Yeah, diesel. Leaking diesel all down the side of the engine block there. Got a leak on my fuel pump. Dang it.